making a video. It's another, whatever, anti-Contavod response video, sort of. Just this whole idea of fate, and, how this is really not it's not even a reasonable concept in a way. I mean, we're stuck with an idea that, reflexes don't really allow there to be anything other than fate. We're part of something that's just happening, the way the universe unfolded, and it's just kind of unfolding. And so, yeah, there's a certain element of, there's the fact that what will happen. I mean, it's already written, so to speak. But it still doesn't change the fact that we're stuck with a bunch of different ideas in our heads, and at any one moment in our thinking feels or seems persuadable, changeable, mutable, what we will invest in. And clearly, in terms of what people do, there's this whole idea of the sheepleness, the following, the being persuaded, being convinced, being changed by interaction with each other. And so what we say is sort of important. And I guess my critique of anti-Contavod is he's saying a lot of bullshit about getting the most out of your life in such a personal way, rather than getting the most out of your capacity as a machine, as your capacity to produce in the world. And so the theme of his videos are this selfish Nietzsche bullshit of not maximizing yourself for some utility, but just maximizing yourself for the fact that, well, you have two choices in life. Enjoy it or not enjoy it, and you might as well choose enjoying it. It's stupid. I mean, yes, if you're going to be tortured anyway, try to laugh as much as you can. Try to see the bright side and all that kind of bullshit. But that's if life was considered inconsequential, and that would be if you were stupid enough to think your influence was inconsequential. That you had no power to change anything. You couldn't even give a homeless man a good night's sleep in a less something other than a, piss and flea infested shithole of some kind, box, whatever it is. I mean, there's every day, every moment of your life, you pretty much, you can go choose to pet the dog or the cat, cheer him up. There's always something that you can do performance-wise that has more of an implication than just what's happening to you or how you feel and all that kind of crap. So again, I'm going to argue plainly that the world's a mess. There's all kinds of horror. It's not just and it's not fate. It's not some obligation of the human race to accept any of this. That clearly it's changeable. Rome fell. Stuff can happen. But clearly also it can only happen if people show up to make it happen, right? You don't stop Adolf Hitler until a bunch of you jump in front of the bullets. True. Fact. It's the way it works. So there's nothing to love about that. Nothing to love about the fact that there's a mess that needs cleaning up. I mean, you don't love war. You don't love making decisions and calculations that are just grotesquely unpleasant and shitty, to decide what risk you'll take with somebody else's welfare and all that kind of stuff. And that's all the stuff he's just glib about. He just turns off the idea that you learn anything through your life, and that we should do anything like learn from experience. And that our judgments should be about something other than what's in it for me, to quote Hathaway. No, that's not what the game is. It's not even, again, you're saying, no, these people can't be that big an imbecile that they think the game is how they feel today. And that's all that's happening on planet Earth. That's the game. I feel good, I feel bad, that's it. Nothing else is going on here worth noting. Nothing else to account for. No other circumstances relevant. There's just no way you can be that stupid. So you can only do that out of some selfish, desperate selfishness. And I guess it's desperate in the sense that apparently you need to rationalize it. So you need people like Anticonovat or Hoffladay to say it's okay. And then you can ride that lizard. Because somehow you have your lead sheeple. The lead sheep is showing you the way, how to be a denier of reality. You know, how to be an evader of responsibility. So, I mean, you know, Anticonovat's videos are just so bad because he does all this talking about this crap, and in the end of the video he basically unwrites everything he just said, because he actually does say, well, you have a choice to act or not act. And not acting is acting. And this is the truth. It's right there. And but again, he does always boil it down to some sort of personal decision, you know, some sort of personal effect. Life hands you spoiled, rotten, rancid, and you can choose to eat it or to say, fuck it, I'm done here, I'm going home. And somehow that solves the problem. But we know that doesn't solve the problem. You'll be back, so to speak, quote unquote. The consciousness will be back. And if we don't learn from our mistakes and improve our condition through each cycling of our existence, if our motivation is just what's in it for me, yeah, you're not going to make better futures that way. Duh. Again, it's painful. You can see it's sort of painful to have to even acknowledge that people are too stupid to figure that out. They need somebody to say it to them, to provoke an argument about it. But yeah, it's the way it is. The future's made out of your glib. You're creating the victims. You're creating the perpetrators. Because you're not doing anything to change anything, to learn from experience. So again, it's very hard for me to take Anticonovat seriously, just because this whole idea, this glib attitude, talking about all this knowing thyself and seizing the day in the context, as if this was something that's only happening to him, in the context where he overtly and deliberately creates another consciousness that will be subject to this monster. He's acknowledging fate is a monster. I mean, fate's going to kill you, and it might kill you really badly. And before it kills you, it might disable you, it might torment you, it might torture you. And yet he sentenced somebody to this, saying it's okay, even though I know, I have full knowledge that this is a possibility. I'll ignore that, apparently. I'll pretend that's not a truth, because for the glory of, he might win a gold medal. I mean, I really don't think he's going to create a service, an individual obsessed with being a service to humanity. Doesn't seem like those are going to be the lessons he's going to be teaching. Self-sacrifice or any of that kind of thing. So this monster is either going to be a victim or a perpetrator. It's not going to be something. It's not going to be a gift to the human race, that's for certain. Fuck. That be dumb. So I mean, I guess I'll just end with the simple argument is that your potential to do in the world, making yourself happy is probably going to be more expensive than making other people happy in terms of what it's going to take, what kind of resource consumption. It's just a fact, and it's a fact of the world. what we squander, you know, somebody else somewhere else can make a lot out of that. You know, $8 here versus $8 in China. What will it buy? And you can just make a rational argument that maybe I should be sending my $8 to anyone in China. It doesn't matter who it is. Well, except for the, you know, 14 billionaires. You know, avoid them. But otherwise, you couldn't help but improve somebody's life in some sort of major way, in some sort of $80 way with your $8. But it's just, there's so much of that in this reality, is that you want to win, and winning would be considered to be how much human comfort you have in your bag. To go back to the Christmas Carol, it's almost Christmas, so maybe this is a legitimate time to do these themes. You know, in the movie Scrooge, blah blah blah, Marley, the idea of the chains the chains you forge in life, and you know, it kind of also works the way where if you just, you know, I mean, it's not maybe the best metaphor, because what you've really forged in your life, what you've done, is you've consumed people's welfare, and you've enhanced people's welfare. And the real winner in the game, you know, is somebody who has a bag full of victories in sense of maximizing productive impact on the welfare of the other feeling things occupying planet Earth. And that's how you win this game, is to collect the most whatever the represent the icons of this was a successful improvement in something's welfare. Something's destiny was improved, and I was critical in as a mechanism of that improvement of circumstance. And just be nice to be able to put those in your pocket. Yeah, I mean, it'd be great if you could cure cancer or something, or, you know, create some sort of painkiller that didn't have any, wasn't addictive, you know, didn't have any negative side effects. Do something, you know, that would just be an automatic enhancement. Though, you know, that would be, those are the real, but I'm just saying you can do the superhero thing as a metaphor, an analogy to understand what the idea is, where the goal is, what the right road is. And the right road is be Superman. Now, you're not going to be Superman. Your fate, you know from your understanding of fate, it's not in the cards, but you know that's the right road. Trying to be, even without superpowers, would be the right road. That's the road. That's the victory road. That's Victory Lane is a side street off of that road. Can't get there from anywhere else but this road of idealism. And that's where we should be seizing the day, is in trying to seize our ego, our personal obsession, and recognizing that it really doesn't matter who has the broken leg, who has the cancer, who has all this stuff. It doesn't matter individually. It only matters that it exists. The job isn't to not make yourself a victim. The job is to prevent victims from being made. And this is often an argument I use for the gun nuts and stuff, because all you're doing when you decide to defend yourself, all you do is move the target, you know, the little bullseye, to somebody weaker. That's all. You don't prevent perpetration. You know, you just move the target, move the victim, move the bullseye. So this is something you can't do. You're not going to win thinking, oh, I can personally win and also win, you know, in the real game. So I can do both. I can have a personal victory and a social victory. not going to be likely. I'm not saying I would hate you if you try to do the both. Good to try, but just recognize that you can't do one first. If your first priority is me happy, then you're not going to get the second job done. You know it. So the obligation is to do the first job first. So if this was Pyrrho, I would be arguing, yeah, your job is to, before you start talking about all the promises the future holds, fix something in the world first. Prove you can do it. You keep promising this can happen and that can happen and all this shit can happen, and yet you haven't proven or demonstrated you have any capacity to fix anything. You keep laying eggs in the nest that doesn't exist, and you keep saying, well, yeah, I'll pay you the nest later. I'll show up later with, the stuff you should have had before you started the project. You gotta fix the world before you can suggest somebody should be throwing people into it. Just the truth. To be rational or honorable or even minimally decent, that would be your obligation. Don't talk a better world, make a better world. Or concede that better world is just not in the cards, and we gotta let this thing go. We gotta quit playing with this victim-making monster of fate. Anyway, that's enough. Won't go on and on. People complain videos are too long. Too bad. Yeah, they are what they are. Alright. Anyway, so the last video did actually have some thoughtful comments on it, if someone cares to read some of them. I mean, people actually wrote stuff, and some of it very eloquent, interesting, meaningful, and such. So anyway, the civilizationist video. So, I mean, it's all related to that. It's, again, seizing the day really means seizing, allowing your best intellect to seize control over your priority, the substance of your principle. Let the best you run you. Then the best you can run the world. That kind of thing. First you got to run you before you can run anything. And really, it's just an argument about principles. And if everybody has the same ambition, you can accept failure. But when people aren't even trying, that's not failure. That's not trying, and that's disgusting. Not trying to be a superhero in a world in desperate need of superheroes is just so fucking lame. Anyway, yeah, now it's enough. Okay, so until next time. And such.